With all of us excited for the return of the Bleach anime in just a few months, I thought what better time than now to dive into the most mysterious and powerful group of individuals within Bleach. I'm of course referring to the Royal Guard. I'm starting off by analysing the first member of the Zero Division who was mentioned within the manga during the Turn Back the Pendulum arc. I am referring to Kirio Hikifune, the former captain of the 12th Division, who had left an impression upon her subordinates like Hiyori prior to her promotion into the Royal Guard. In this video, I will be talking about everything that we know about her character, including the relationships that she shares with the other Royal Guard members and her former subordinates who remember her fondly. In addition to this, we will be speaking about the role that she plays within the 1000-Year Blood War arc, how she assists Ichigo and the others with their training, and how she battles against Juha Bach when he arrives within the Soul King's palace. So without further delay, let's get into my breakdown and analysis of Kirio Hikifune.
Before the video begins, only 20% of the people who actually watch my content are subscribed to the channel. If you enjoy these videos, then subscribe and stick around for more content just like this. Now let's get back to the topic of the video.
Kirio Hikifune does make her debut appearance within chapter 516 of the manga, but as I have mentioned, we do hear about her character before this during the Turn Back the Pendulum arc. Hikifune has two physical appearances which are very different from each other. The first is the oversized look that she is first introduced with. She appears to be a well-fed, purple-haired lady with very noticeable black lips. She is the first female character to showcase to us a different body type with a rounder, more plump physique, which is similar to the appearance of the Vizard Hachi. When Shinji sees her, he states that she appears to look very different from what he remembers of her during her time as a captain of the Gotei 13. The true form of Hikifune is revealed to us in chapter 521, as we see a design that is more in line with Kubo's signature slender style of drawing characters. We learn that Hikifune takes up this larger form in order to withstand and provide the large amount of reiatsu that is required for her cooking techniques. Because it uses almost all of her reiatsu, she is left with no choice but to gain as much weight as possible so that her body can withstand the process. Hikifune is a kind and cheerful character with a very animated, bubbly personality. Even when she is scolding others, she continues to smile, like in chapter 517. We see her striking Shinji for not greeting her upon her arrival to the Soul Society. We learn about her motherly side during the Turn Back the Pendulum arc, where Hiyori refuses to accept Urahara as her new captain, citing that Hikifune was too kind and caring to be simply replaced by anybody. This motherly side is highlighted once again in chapter 555, when she gives Ichigo rice balls prior to him departing from the Soul King's palace to battle the Sternritters. Hikifune has a lot of pride in preparing her food because of her strong love for food. Contrastingly, we do see that she is stern and confident in her abilities while she was facing off against the Schutzstaffel. So now that we know a solid background of a character, let's dive into everything that we know about her past prior to her first appearance within the manga. The Turn Back the Pendulum arc takes place 110 years before the current timeline of Bleach. It is here that we learn that Hikifune was promoted from the captain of the 12th Division to a member of the Royal Guard. She was given this opportunity because she invented the artificial soul. This invention was recognized by the Soul King. Hikifune was supposed to attend the captain ceremony of Kisuke Urahara, but for some reason she was unable to attend it. Despite not seeing her, we are aware that she leaves a lasting impression upon all those who were close to her, notably Hiyori, who struggles to come to terms with her promotion, to the point that she hates Urahara for not being Hikifune. During the present timeline of the story, we are properly introduced to Hikifune after the first devastating invasion of the Quincy, with the Soul Society in a dire situation after the death of head captain Yamamoto. The Royal Guard, who typically do not intervene with matters of the Soul Society, are forced to lend a hand to the Gotei 13. Hikifune strikes Shinji after he fails to recognize her, until she speaks about Hiyori's well-being. He was genuinely surprised with the change of appearance, as he states that she seems to be a different person, and it is obvious that he was more familiar with her in her slender form. The Royal Guard revealed the true reason for their appearance, as they take Rukia, Renji, Byakuya, and Ichigo to the Soul King's palace. Hikifune shows her motherly caring side in chapter 519, when she scolds her fellow royal guard member Tenjiro Kurinji for not properly explaining the Soul King's palace to Ichigo. She then proceeds to tell Ichigo about the layout of the palace and how each of the Zero Division members have been given their own city within the Soul King's realm. Ichigo and Renji arrive at Hikifune's city Gatoden in chapter 521. She proceeds to prepare food for the two of them, encouraging them to eat, as she explains that it is her job to feed them and it is their job to ensure that they get full off of her food. During the chapter, we get to truly appreciate the techniques and abilities of this particular member of the Royal Guard. She reveals to us that she has a passion for cooking food and feeding it to others. When she leaves to make the two of them dessert, she returns in her true form, which is her slimmer appearance that I explained earlier. Her sudden change in appearance shocks Ichigo and Renji. Hikifune explains that she utilizes all of the Reiatsu in her body while she is cooking, thus explaining why she is forced to gain weight prior to cooking, so that her body can withstand the pressure that her cooking has on it. She explains that each of the members of the Royal Guard have invented an item which has profoundly benefited the Soul Society, and thus gaining the recognition of the Soul King, who requests for the individuals to be enlisted into his Royal Guard. Hikifune was responsible for creating the artificial soul and the ability to insert them into a body. Hikifune states that the food that she makes is also imbued with Reiatsu, so it serves to enhance the Reiatsu of the one who has eaten the food, elevating the Shinigami's power. Now, before Renji and Ichigo leave her, she warns them to be careful in the palace of Uetsu Nimaya, as nobody knows what he might do. In chapter 555, we once again see Hikifune express her compassion as she hands to Ichigo a package containing a rice ball that he can snack on if he gets hungry during his trip back down to the Serite. This, of course, is such a motherly thing to do, and she even comments upon Ichigo thanking her for the food, as she notes that Ichigo has changed since he had first arrived within the Soul King's palace, as he no longer has wavering and uncertain Reiatsu. In chapter 588, while eating, Hikifune senses the arrival of Uryu, Hashward, and Juha Bach into the Soul King's palace. Hikifune confronts Juha Bach and his elite guard in chapter 600, as she traps them in a cage made from a tree. When Lil Barrow attempts to shoot the cages, she explains that the tree is imbued with her Reiatsu, so the tree will absorb any Reiatsu attacks similar to the attacks produced by the Quincy. Hikifune is next seen after Juha Bach revives his fallen elite guard. Together with Kurinji, she attempts to block an attack from Lil Barrow, which was directed towards Nimaya. They ultimately fail, as she is surprised to see that the Quincy's attack had hit its target regardless of their intervention. Hikifune is last seen within chapter 611, as she appears to have been defeated along with the other members of the Zero Division. Now, I have mentioned this several times, and it is important to emphasize this point about Hikifune's character, which is that she is a maternal figure, and that she is not shy when it comes to looking after her underlings. During the Turn Back the Pendulum arc, Shinji had warned the newly appointed Captain Urahara that he would struggle to win over Hiyori, because she was so attached to Hikifune. She was like a mother to her. So for this reason, it is disappointing that we did not get to see a reunion between these two characters, as I would have loved to see Hikifune catching up with Hiyori. It would have also been interesting to see her interacting with her successor Urahara, as he would have been explaining to her how he had transformed her division into the Soul Society's Research and Development Institute. I have no doubt that this would have made Hikifune incredibly proud, considering she was the one who had invented the artificial soul, proving that she has an exceptional scientific background, which rivals the prowess of Urahara and even Mayuri. Hikifune had instantly taken a liking to Ichigo, as she made sure to feed him well and to look after him, as if she were his mother. She even defends him from her fellow Zero Division member Tenjiro Kurinji, and warns him and Renji about Uetsu Nimaya prior to them setting off for his palace. Despite her encounters with Ichigo being fairly brief, they were enough for us to understand that she had adopted a motherly role with our protagonist, and ultimately she was proud to see how far he had come after he had completed his training within the Soul King's palace. Despite the fact that we don't see her interact much with the other members of the Zero Division, we do get to appreciate that they all have a mutual respect for each other, and they all approve of their leader Ichibe. She did express concern over the unpredictable nature of Uetsu Nimaya, but this was more to forewarn Ichigo and Renji. As far as Tenjiro Kurinji is concerned, it seems as though she has a big sister type relationship with him, as she isn't shy to scold him when he does something that she disapproves of. Hikifune is regarded as a master chef, as in her own words, she states that manipulating food means to manipulate life, life. Her powers and abilities are best described by this quote, as she uses her abilities to feed her fellow Shinigami. By infusing her Reiatsu into the ingredients, she is able to make the food that empowers anybody who eats it, as it replenishes their Reiatsu. The ingredients found within the food are sourced from her very own body, and she uses these very powers to create the Cage of Life tree. In chapter 604, we get to see a glimpse of her Zanpakuto, as it takes up the form of a large wok spoon. We do not know if this is the released or unreleased form of her blade, and sadly this is the extent of the knowledge that we have of her Zanpakuto, as neither her Shikai or Bankai are formally revealed within the manga. In the end, Kirio Hikifune's character only appeared within the manga a handful of times, but her impact upon the overall story is not to be understated. Do I feel like more could have been done with her character? Yes, but I feel the same way about all of the other members of the Zero Division, who I will get around to making videos on. Despite this, when it comes to Hikifune, I am content with what we know about her, learning that she had invented the artificial soul, as well as being the first member of the Zero Division that we are made aware of, but we don't get to see her properly until 200 chapters later. The compassionate and caring aspect of her character was utilized excellently, as we see this side through how fondly Hiyori remembers her, and her bond with Ichigo that she forms. I do feel like so much more could have been done with her character, as like I mentioned earlier, it would have been nice to see her have a reunion with Hiyori, as well as getting to see more of her powers and abilities, as it would have been nice to see her Shikai and Bankai. So with all of these wishes of wanting to see her character expanded upon, I'm fairly confident that we will get to see more of her and the other Zero Division members during the anime adaptation of the 1000-Year Blood War arc. Now we are at the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you think about the character of Kirio Hikifune? Is she one of your favorite members of the Zero Division? I would love to see the discussion continued within the comments, so let me know your thoughts. Once again, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next Bleach video.
If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.